Mira, luego no me digas que no te mando tu foto porque nunca me
No
escribí.
encontré tu número.
Ya vi.
Es que cambié de teléfono. Ahora ando un iPhone 15.
A la gran puta, ni ha salido.
Ahí después cambiamos, no, lo busqué. Pero...
Dale. Mi perra. Cosa más fea esta, vos.
Ya, me la mandó.
Sí, hombre. A la Selec. Creo que 3 días son allí. Creo 2, voy a ver. Ya voy a ir a Iriamba. Y peor si me cae mal ese viejo. Ya lo cambiaste por aquí. Como ya se te fue. Ya no te llevó para allá más.
Torneo, Real Esteli es el actual líder del torneo, empatado con el equipo
Managua, nos ubicamos, por favor. Va a tomar fotos. Esperemos, Ronald. Gracias. Vamos, Managua. Llegamos, por favor.
Hi everyone and welcome to the Estadio Nacional in Managua, Nicaragua. This is a presentation of Liga Primera, the top division of professional soccer in Nicaragua, where we play the 2020 Apertura season tonight between the league leaders and the visitors, Real Esteli, in the red and the white jerseys against the host in the Blue Lions of Managua FC. It is a rematch of the last two championship matches between these two teams, and it also represents tonight the official halfway point of the 2020 fall season. I am Ben Wilson, so happy to have you joining us tonight, wherever you choose to stream us from, alongside James Poovey. And James, this is a matchup that probably at the top of the viewing list for anybody who follows Nicaraguan soccer and Liga Primera. These teams met in a tightly contested 4-2 two-legged aggregate final just a few months ago, last spring in the Clausura Championship, and it's the first meeting since then. Neither team, though, playing their best right now, and it'll be a good opportunity for either side to try and turn that around when you look at some of the recent form. That is the way we like to start with the fireworks display. This is the National Stadium. On half of the people here, but so far nobody has put on quite a two-match show like we have seen tonight, the Blue Lions of Managua against the Train of the North from Real. It's only the second or third week that fans have been allowed back into the stadiums. Nicaragua, one of the few leagues that was able to continue its play throughout the pandemic, albeit behind closed doors. They started the 2020 season continuing without fans, but starting in match day 6, they did allow fans back at a 50% capacity. We're now into match day 9 tonight, as it is Esteli first in the league. 6 wins and 2 draws in their 8 matches against Managua, who have struggled so far. Just 3 wins and a draw, along with 4 losses in their 8 matches so far. Our referee tonight, Bayardo Juarez, blows his whistle and gets us underway. It's a festive atmosphere tonight. Fans filing in on the ends of the stadium behind each goal, as this rematch of the last 2 title matches is underway. I mentioned the recent form, James. We'll get into the starting 11s in just a moment, but while Managua, it's been a massive struggle, sitting just 5th in the table. You look at Esteli, they have not scored in 225 minutes in league action coming into tonight. Pretty shocking for a side that scored 16 goals out of the gate, and they still lead the league in that goal-scoring mark, but it has not been there over the past couple weeks for Esteli, who start off with the ball right now.
Yes, the league typically one of the best offenses in Liga Primera, but they have definitely struggled here during the Apertura season. Just not able to get a whole lot of things going offensively, but they can take a turn at any time, and they know how to score goals. They just got to get off the schneid somehow tonight, and maybe here this is their opportunity to do so here this evening.
A very festive crowd, as I mentioned in the background.
Turn my sound down a little bit there.
We'll take a look first at our starting 11. For the visitors, Real Esteli coming off a 0-0 draw in this venue last week against the newly promoted side, Junior Managua. Juan Barrera, league's leading goal scorer, just fired in that cross. 9 goals on his ledger this season for Barrera, including 4 in a match against Chinandega earlier this campaign. He starts alongside Edgar Castillo, the dynamic 18-year-old up top for Real Esteli. The 4 midfielders, Jorge Betancourt, Richard Rodriguez, Henry Garcia, and Josue Quijano, with Manuel Rosas, Cristian Gutierrez, Oscar Acevedo, and Yon Mosquera in the back 4. And Rodrigo Romo is back in goal tonight for Esteli. Under second-year technical director Holver Flores, 21 wins in his 35 matches so far in charge. There's a good look at the fans as our first corner of the evening comes for Managua. The Blue Lions played in midweek in a League Cup match in the semifinal round, as this in-swinging ball is knocked towards the edge of the box and a chance to get the break on for Esteli. Maybe one advantage tonight, James. You have Esteli, who were knocked out of the Cup a couple weeks ago. They did not have to play in the midweek, so they've had a full week of rest, while Managua, via their win over Chinandega in the quarterfinals, they did have to play on Wednesday a 1-1 draw at Somotillo.
Well, as we make our way through this Apertura season, fatigue is definitely going to be a factor. It's 80 degrees outside tonight, a little bit of humidity, 87%, so that's going to play a factor as well. That both teams are going to have to make sure and stay hydrated. And you got to think, like you said, that Esteli will have a bit of an advantage having that full week of rest coming into tonight's match.
Off the short corner, it's Josue Quijano. He'll line up a deep shot, but that's deflected right at the top of the box. As like I mentioned, it's Esteli back in this venue, second straight week. A disappointing 0-0 draw, James, last Saturday. You have some draws that you feel like are wins, some that feel like they're losses, and that was the latter for Esteli, who dominated the match, had a number of great scoring opportunities, more than 10 shots on goal, but could not get a goal past the upstart Junior Managua team, who truly are the junior squad in this Liga Primera side, but they certainly were able to hold their own in that match against Esteli. Another frustrating outing, though, for Holver Flores. And as you mentioned earlier, though, James, it's a side that have the ability to score at any time, but one of those things throughout the course of a long season, you'll have those ebbs and flows of form, and right now Esteli, at least from a goal-scoring perspective, they've been in that kind of rut form as far as the goal scoring goes.
Well, I'd definitely like to get your opinion, Ben. Seeing that I did not see the game last week, do you think? What do you think the Reader's Digest version of why they couldn't seem to get it in the net last week, even though they had a number of chances? Was it better defensive positioning for Junior Managua, or was it just not quite the greatest shot opportunities, or what is your opinion on that?
Well, if you asked, I'm sure the Esteli players after last Saturday night, they would say it should have been 4-1, something along those lines. And there was a number of occasions where they had players with head in hands because they missed a number of, I wouldn't say wide open net opportunities, but balls that you would expect most professionals in top flight soccer to put away. One for Juan Barrera on a ball that was basically a free header in the middle of the 6-yard box with no defender around him that he put wide. So just one of those cases of a domino effect that you sometimes see. Offensive-minded teams like Esteli struggling to put the ball in between the pipes where it has to go, but they'll be looking to reverse that tonight. You have a man down behind the play right here, actually 2 men down, one for each side after that collision. As we're about 5 minutes in, and we'll get a check on both of those players. Esteli, though, had lost a match 2-0 at rival Dirian in the Cup, which knocked them out of the League Cup in the quarterfinals in their match prior to last Saturday. So 2 straight matches where they've been shut out after being a goal-scoring machine the first month of the season.
Yeah, injured player down there on the pitch for Managua. Good looking uniforms out there, though, however. Tonight we'll get another look at the play.
Henry Garcia, you see tangled up. He's the Esteli man. Spent a season on loan, or a half season on loan last year with Managua, and was a key player for the Blue Lions, while Leandro Figueroa, first-year player and a transfer from another one of those Managua clubs, Walter Ferretti, the 27-year-old Argentinian, a little slow to get up. I know we documented some of the issues for Esteli, James, but at the same time, this is a club that remains top of the table. They're tied on points with Walter Ferretti, but have a superior goal differential. So for some of the negatives over the past couple weeks, they're still in pretty good shape. Whereas Managua off to a very slow start. They had an equal stretch recently where they've only scored once in the last 4 league matches. Not what you would expect out of the team that put across 70 goals on aggregate between the fall and spring seasons last year, but you can maybe point to the fact that Managua lost 2 of their leading goal scorers. Carlos Felix and Cristiano Fernandez combined for 31 goals last season, and all in all, they lost 44 goals as far as production out of those 70 last year, and they are struggling early to find a new source for some of those goal scorers in their offensive attack. Here they'll have to defend, though, as Esteli pushes forward. Barrera off the bar, and it goes in. So after all the frustrations the past 2 matches, this time Juan Barrera just kisses it in off the post, able to get just enough on the header. And Esteli on the break, able to strike first in the 8th minute. It's 1-0 for the Trend of the North on the road.
Yeah, they were moving up that far side at a great pace there. We'll get another look at it here momentarily. Hover Flores, you can see, barking out the signals for the next action there, but a great job there for Juan Barrera scoring that one. Here comes that next look. Going up the right-hand side, Quijano now gets it into the middle. Somehow finds the head of Juan Barrera, and he just finishes the job. An excellent goal. Get another look at it here from inside the box. Goalkeeper tried to do something with that one, but just too much smoke on that, and off the head of Juan Barrera. Great play there for Josue Quijano, working it inside as well.
You think about the frustrations of this Esteli team over the past couple weeks, and Barrera has certainly felt those. He was sent off in a match a couple weeks ago against rival Dirian after scoring a penalty. That, incidentally, was the last goal Esteli had scored until just now, and he had seen his incredibly hot start to the year boil down and, cool off after the 8 goals he had scored right out of the chute. But now is up to 10 on the season. That is, as I mentioned before, the league lead, and he now extends his career tally to 7 goals in his extensive Liga Primera season against the team in the blue and yellow from Managua. And while we mentioned, James, it would be one team we figured that would snap their run of poor form, and right now it appears to be Esteli that is doing it early.
Yeah, they've come out here in the early part of this one and asserted their will so far here on the home team of Managua. And it was a great goal there by Juan Barrera. Right place, right time once again for Barrera. I got another look at the replay there, and it looked like Castillo was right in front there as well for the chance. So that could have went off either one of them, but Juan Barrera right there to put it in the net for Esteli and get them off to a great start here.
And basically one man to mark two players. That usually does not work, especially when you have one of the best goal scorers in Nicaraguan history, Juan Barrera, alongside somebody who Esteli staff and players call a star in the making, Edgar Castillo, who had been basically relegated to the youth team, even though he was fantastic in limited action at the end of last season. But they started him on the U20 side, where he was amazing. 8 goals in the first 7 matches this year, earned a call-up and made his first start of the season last Saturday night. Played the first half in that 0-0 draw and had a couple glorious opportunities. One he probably should have put in on a cross that he just couldn't quite reach with his outstretched right boot. But here gets rewarded with another start tonight. Up top right alongside Juan Barrera in that 4-4-2 that Pulver Flores employs. And continuing to follow up on the momentum, it's another corner for the visitors in Esteli, already up a goal in our first 10.5 minutes.
Yeah, Esteli seems to definitely be pushing the pace right here.
Oh, this ball just flicked wide. An awkward scrum after that initial corner coming in, dealt with on the header by Managua. And we'll get another look at full speed this time.
There we go.
Christian Gutierrez
just
stuck out his left foot. He has scored once in his career against Managua in his 143 Liga Primera appearances, the 27-year-old.
Couple chances there recently for Esteli. One of them there in front of the net for Rodriguez, and then Jorge Betancourt follows that up. And so Esteli's really turning the heat up right now on Managua.
And I was just going to say, it's not the start Emilio Alberto was looking for on the Managua side. In his 4th season now, he has had so much success as the head coach of the Blue Lions, who are a pretty young club. They don't feel like it. They were formed just back in 2006, but have had a tremendous amount of success. Only one title to their name, but they have been in a number of finals, several against Esteli. In fact, the last 4 times Managua have made it to the finals, they have come up against this same side. 3 of those won by Esteli.
Good looking uniforms out there tonight as well. Managua in those yellow shorts with the blue tops, and then Real Esteli looking pretty clean as well. Red shorts and white tops with a little red trim on the sleeve.
But this is a Managua team with very high expectations. They did get off to a somewhat slow start last year, finished 4th in the Apertura, and were able to take out top-seeded Walter Ferretti on penalties in the semifinals before losing 2-1 after extra time on aggregate to Esteli. But it was really the Clausura where they surged ahead, by far the best team in the league, ended up finishing first in the aggregate table last year, Managua. So if the league was determined like, say, a European league or a more international league, they would have been the league champions, but that's not how they do it in most of the Central American leagues. It's the fall tournament champion and the spring tournament champion that they combined. And that was Esteli, who won the double last year. But Managua were the top team on aggregate. They also won the League Cup last year. So you could argue, James, just as successful of a season as Esteli. And these on paper would appear to be the top 2 teams coming back in 2020.
Yeah, it's always a great game anytime these two get together, and the success both offensively and defensive for these teams, even though, as you mentioned, Managua, a relatively young club, only 14 years old. So
this ball just running out of play on the far touchline. Betancourt able to win the throw for his side. Early frustrations for Managua, who made 7 changes from their midweek lineup. They fielded an extremely young starting 11 against the second division side, Somotillo, and They field another youngster tonight. You saw Jonathan Sanchez, one of 4 members formerly of Real Esteli, now playing in the Blue Lion shirt. Sanchez, though, just 18 years old. He was a fixture in the Esteli youth team last year, did appear in 4 matches for the senior club, and now he starts tonight on the back line for Managua and was not thrilled with conceding that throw-in. Allows Richard Rodriguez a chance to whip in a free kick.
Not a whole lot on that one there from Rodriguez. Not really a good chance. No one home there for Esteli.
You always look to get that free kick over the wall, and that was not a very penetrating effort. But still, Esteli leading in our first quarter hour after the 8th-minute goal from Juan Barrera, El Iluminado, as he is known in these parts. Little through ball looking for Brian Castillo. One of those reinforcements, James, that Managua hope to use as an efficient replacement for those players I mentioned earlier, Felix and Fernandez, both gone from last year's club. Castillo, a Honduran, first year in Liga Primera, who just made he's only appeared in his 2nd game now, but scored his first goal in a blue and yellow jersey on Wednesday in that League Cup tie, the 1-1 draw. So they're hoping for big things out of him. That's a shot from well outside the box from Agenor Baez, deflected and then collected easily by Rodrigo Romo.
Romo doing a great job in goal this year for Esteli as well. He's been kind of alternating in and out with Denver Fox, but he's been effective when he's been in there.
And so Castillo, one to watch. You saw Baez there a moment ago, who just made his season debut on Wednesday, was a key fixture last year, but slow out of the gates. You assume usually injuries, getting up to full match fitness, as Rodriguez's shot blocked after Barrera had a chance.
It's been about 2 or 3 games since Richard Rodriguez has had a yellow card.
Now, he's usually not in the mix. It's been players like Yon Mascara. You see him, number 2, who's back, has not played in the couple weeks since getting sent off against Dirian Hen, but he is making his return tonight. Juan Barrera had also had to serve a suspension. He was also sent off in that Dirian Hen match. Now, here's Garcia, tries to chip it back. It's basically kneed right back to the keeper, and that was almost a disaster as Rigoberto Fuentes able to just direct it at his keeper, Lester Acevedo. That could have been much worse if that was not caught just right off of Fuentes' knee.
Boy, you could feel the blood pressure elevate on that one right there. That was extremely close right in front of the box there, but a great job for Romo of getting that, or excuse me, for him getting that one corralled before anything went awry there.
Mentioned Lester Acevedo in goal. He was basically the backup to Erly Mendez last season, but similar to Esteli, it seems like that number 1 keeper position is still up for grabs, and Acevedo now starting for the 6th match in 9, Mendez with the other 3, as Managua looks to push forward with their top line, Pablo Gallego, Agenor Baez, and Nayum Peralta. Gallego and Peralta have both spent time with Esteli in the past, as a goal kick won by the visitors. And it's the aforementioned Brian Castillo with Leandro Figueroa, Kevin Serapio in the midfield, Rigoberto Fuentes, Campos Perez, Marcos Gonzalez, and Jonathan Sanchez in that back line for Emilio Alberto.
Couple of players for Managua out there, including Campos Perez rocking the pink cleats tonight. I see maybe a little early breast cancer awareness stuff.
A good ball in here, and it's kind of thumped right at Romo, who's able to stop it, making the save. Pablo Gallego with the thumbs up on that ball in, and for good reason. The Spaniard, who has been a dynamic goal scorer for the Blue Lions, 17 goals, tying for the team lead last season, but it's end-to-end stuff right now. Garcia goes down, and that's a penalty. As we go end-to-end, great opportunity for Gallego on one side. The save made instead, though, by Romo. And on the counterattack, it's Garcia who draws the foul on Rigoberto Fuentes and the spot kick.
Garcia went down pretty hard on that one, too. He's still down on the pitch there, Ben. Looks like he's getting helped up now. That's good to see. So Esteli now with another chance here coming up.
Now, the speed of Garcia, you cannot deny. One of the quickest players in Liga Primera. And sometimes you'll use it, as you would traditionally think, James, to just speed past the defender. But there he used it in the other way, able to stop on a dime. And Fuentes, the 30-year-old defender, unable to avoid making contact. Pretty clear foul, pretty clear penalty. No reason really to argue. And none of the Managua players are doing so. And it's now a chance for Juan Barrera to make this match 2-0 in the first 20 minutes.
Well, Henry Garcia, you think about it, 28 years old, Ben, and he's out there outrunning a lot of those 19 and 20-year-olds for the other team. So he's still got the motor.
Barrera with 7 career goals now against Managua. Already 1 tonight in the 8th minute, as he'll try to make it 2 and a 2-0 lead. Juan Barrera calmly tucks it in, setting the keeper in Acevedo the wrong way. A smooth delivery from the veteran, the 31-year-old from Ocotao, and Juan Barrera has put Esteli up 2-0 in 20 minutes. And the goal-scoring drought for the visitors is emphatically over, as they're in a commanding position now.
Great job there by Juan Barrera, one of the best scorers in Liga Primera, just lulling the goalkeeper to sleep, and then just a little misdirection there and just nudges it in for a goal. There's another look at it right there.
And less than basically a half through our opening 45, James, you have two sides that really felt like this was a must-win match for Esteli, trying to keep pace with surging Walter Ferretti atop the league, while Managua looking to dig themselves out of an early 5th place standing out of just the 10 teams in the top flight. Disappointing for Managua, and it's been a disastrous 21-plus minutes to start.
Yeah, Managua not the start they wanted to get off to tonight here, especially on their home pitch in front of their home fans. So they're going to now have to play from behind. That's going to affect them mentally, because now they're going to be trying to claw their way back into this one and maybe forcing some stuff that might not be there. But they're going to have to get something going offensively, because if Esteli gets one more, it's going to be really tough for them to come back. And
what was, again, in COVID terms, a raucous crowd. Of course, it's a limited attendance, but it was an exciting atmosphere with the fireworks display and a lot of chanting going on before the match. That has basically been reduced to barely anything, and now we'll see some pushing and shoving as the visitors lead 2-0. Henry Garcia goes into the book. He's a former Managua player.
Action all over the field, but they got to pan out for the wide shot. It's so busy down there.
Yeah, and we'll see multiple officials getting involved, trying to break up that skirmish. Clearly, just an incredibly frustrating start to this match for Managua. Even though, again, that home field advantage isn't as big with the limited fans, it's still better than nothing, and you want to be able to maximize that. Managua unable to do so, and we'll get another look at what started this little fracas in the middle of the pitch. And, you can't you can't really blame the newcomer to Managua in Brian Castillo. Yeah, not an inspiring play by any means by Henry Garcia, who has already been sent off once this season against Jalapa for a similar play, kind of a cheap shot type lash at a player. And here he's probably fortunate only to get yellow. That easily could have been worse.
Yeah, it almost looked kind of like a little hip check there. He was trying to throw himself into him. But, yeah, he was lucky he didn't get a red on that one. So Henry Garcia's got to kind of play it cool here throughout the rest of this game.
In the meantime, can Managua dig themselves out of a hole? Now that shot will not accomplish the task from Jonathan Sanchez. The 18-year-old, he's a defender, but he can
that goal.
And he can also push up forward, though. You see Marcos Gonzalez, the 25-year-old Paraguayan, another newcomer into this Managua side. They are trying to replace 4 starters. All 4 were very key members of that group that made the finals in both fall and spring seasons last year. Another chance, though, for Esteli on the counter. Garcia top of the box. He just drew a penalty a few minutes ago. This time a bit too fancy on the dribbling. But Mosquera keeps it alive for the visitors. Already up 2-0.
And you mentioned Mosquera. He's not afraid to mix it up back in the lineup tonight for Esteli. And I can't help but wonder, Ben, if we wouldn't have a full crowd on hand tonight if it wasn't COVID times, if we would have a full house there in Estadio Nacional. 15,000, I believe, is about the capacity there. So that would be pretty raucous. And those fireworks before the game, those were no sparklers, my friend.
Yeah, I would imagine a pretty large crowd. Maybe not the entire 15,000. Of course, again, this is a multi-use stadium used for the national team, so it's not necessarily designed to be completely packed to the gills every match. But Managua, with all the success they've had, have quickly earned a large following, and tonight they'll only have about 600 in the stands as they follow all of those recently implemented COVID protocols, at least allowing some fans to enjoy the action. A look at Holver Flores down on the touchline. He has to be pleased after a stressful couple weeks for the young head coach, youngest in Liga Primera history when he was hired last season as a 22-year-old.
All he's done is win, Ben. You can't ask for much more than that from Holver Flores.
Acevedo aggressively playing sweeper as he comes well outside of the box. That was the smart play, too. Esteli continues to charge forward up the 2 goals. Barrera is so tough to deal with. Not only is he aggressive, but he has those veteran instincts. He just knows how to work balls in the right way. And here he earns a corner, even though that looked like a play that was basically all but over from an attacking sense for Esteli. And they get a corner out of it with Rodriguez to take on the far side.
Yeah, Barrera's on fire tonight. He's already got 1, so he's feeling it this evening. So they better be careful.
Well, 2 had the penalty in the 20th minute, so he's sitting on a hat trick already. First half brace for the 31-year-old. Now 11 goals on the season. Castillo getting a lot of looks, the Honduran midfielder. That's a great touch as he gets into the box, and he earns a corner. How about that from the first-year member of the Blue Lions, Brian Castillo, the number 19.
Outstanding footwork.
Yeah, Baez will take it quickly. Pretty good corner, but Mosquera shows off his athleticism, able to outleap everybody. And look for the one-man outlets of Juan Barrera. His chip, unable to find the charging Castillo as a diving Lester Acevedo comes up to grab it, and Acevedo in a little bit of pain after extending out to bring that in.
Couldn't quite tell if he might have fallen on the ball there, maybe knocked the wind out of him a little bit there, but he had to come out quite a bit to get that one because number 9, Henry Garcia, was working his way in there too for a look.
This could lead into our first half cooling break, and it looks like it will. Usually get those at about the half-hour mark, and we'll see what happened again. Barrera just trying to buy time, and as you mentioned, James had 2 options to pick out.
Couldn't quite tell, even on the replay there, Ben, I couldn't really see what happened.
So about a half hour down as we'll get our first half cooling break. Real Esteli, league leaders in our 9th match of 18 in this fall season in Liga Primera in Nicaragua. They are on top 2-0 over Managua, the runners-up from last season, both in the fall and spring tournaments, who sit in 5th in Liga Primera. And with this pause, we'll get a chance to review the 2 goals. First, the glancing header from Barrera. That opened the scoring in the 8th minute before his 20th minute penalty, which was drawn by Henry Garcia in the box.
Off the foot of Josue Quijano right there. A great job using his patience, waiting for just the right moment, working it inside to Juan Barrera, and a great header there for Barrera to finish it off. Once again, another option there. Looked like maybe even Edgar Castillo could have been the primary option on that one, but regardless, Barrera able to get it in there. Now you see Henry Garcia working up the left side, picking up that foul there on Fuentes, and then just right in front of the goal, the veteran Barrera just makes it look easy.
Basically saying this is my house.
Talking a little noise there, I like it.
Well, and he has had some memorable moments on this ground as a member of the international team. 18 goals and 56 career caps. His international debut back in 2009. So Juan Barrera, he is as confident as they come, and for good reason. And he's given Esteli the 2-0 lead tonight as we're back underway. Final quarter hour of this first half between Real Esteli and Managua.
11 years as a pro for Juan Barrera. I got to imagine that the average pro career is not quite 11 years, I would imagine, Ben.
Here's a chance in the box, and that was a good look for Campos Perez. A rare chance to fire on goal, but sends it over the bar. Again, I'm Ben Wilson alongside James Poovey, and first real half chance of the night for Managua.
Yeah, that was about as close as they've come so far here this evening. A good little chance there for Perez.
You look at the goal scorers for Managua, and it has been a struggle. Just 6 goals so far, James, through 8 matches. Again, this was a team that in 36 league matches last year scored 70. So it's been a big drop-off. They do have Gallego back, and we've barely seen Gallego on the ball tonight. Tied for the Liga Primera lead with 17 goals last year.
If Managua was not able to turn the tide somehow.
Now here's Garcia. Good look in the box, and he drags it wide. Oh, Garcia with a half second to get that shot off Perez, the hard-charging tackle attempt, but it was an open look for Garcia, just couldn't catch it right off of his left foot.
Boy, once again, you just see that blazing speed there from Henry Garcia. He gets ahead of everyone else, and then he almost can pull up a little bit and shift down and just wait for the perfect pass. But what speed there for Henry Garcia.
Garcia had an interesting 2019-20 campaign where he scored twice, played in 21 matches in the Apertura for Managua while on loan, and then returned to Esteli, but had an injury-riddled spring campaign, only appeared in 10 matches. Here's Gallego. Good to see him. Number 25 shirt, earning a corner. And again,
Gallego saw a crease there just for half a second, Ben, and tried to make something happen there for Managua.
You look at it, though, 33 minutes in, and we're finally getting a look at Gallego. Again, not what Managua would have wanted, but nothing they can do but try and dig themselves out of this 2-goal hole. Esteli able to deal, though, with this corner.
Garcia down there pleading his case.
That is Naum Peralta, who earns a yellow card. And you think about players and connections between these two teams. Peralta probably has the most of anybody to the opposition as he spent 4.5 years in an Esteli shirt. Here's a look at what happened with he and Garcia, and it looked like they get him for handball.
That was indeed the call on that Naim Peralta right there. Esteli still in command here, especially with the momentum, Ben. They haven't really given much ground so far to Managua. Yeah, this game has had a pretty frenetic pace from the top up until about the past minute or so, and a couple chances for Managua, but they're just not able to get anything going offensively tonight. And Esteli, as you mentioned, if they're able to get one more, that might be the death nail for Managua.
Again, 2-0, 37th minute now. Esteli already with 2 goals from Juan Barrera. You saw that chance a moment ago from the Agenor Baez set piece. Just a little bit too far for the intended target, Marcos Gonzalez.
Looks like we have about 600 fans in attendance tonight with the COVID restrictions down there in Managua, so not too many, but as we mentioned, 600 is definitely better than none, and they definitely provide some atmosphere for the game.
Well, they've had a few collisions and minor dust-ups in this first half, and Juan Barrera now goes into the book. Here was the free kick from a moment ago. And Barrera, not only is he picking up a yellow card here, but this is significant because that's his 5th of the season, so he'll be suspended for the Train of the North's next match. And a big blow whenever that number 11 is not in the starting lineup for Holver Flores.
Well, you can see tonight he has no trouble scoring goals for his ball club, and that's definitely a big loss for Real Esteli not having Juan Barrera.
Manuel Rosas, he scored in that match last year, the veteran 11th-year player for the Train of the North. Scored the game winner early in the second half in that match. That saw Esteli claim their 14th title in club history, a 4-2 aggregate victory over 2 legs.
Those were a couple of great matches.
Leandro Figueroa trying to square one up. Esteli have not been as sharp defensively this season, but they are still a tough nut to crack when you get to that back line with the experience they have. Usually takes a piece of brilliance individually. Tough to score a really nice team goal off of Esteli with how solid they are at the back.
Well, this is typically the brand of soccer that Esteli likes to play as we get another look at it here. Barrera, and it looks like a little poke to the eye there for Agenor Baez. But Esteli is typically used to playing from behind. They get off to an early start. They usually get a goal in early in the first half, and then they're able to just kind of drive the train, no pun intended, for the rest of the game. And that's exactly what they're doing here tonight.
Cards so far for Barrera and Garcia on the Esteli side, while Peralta in the book for Managua. Oh, chance for Barrera. That ball just popped right to him. Some miscommunication in the defense of Managua, but the veteran sends it wide. Looked like he was onside. And this is a situation here where a third goal for Esteli and it's all but game over, whereas if Managua can score the next goal, we'll have a game-on situation. That's a crucial point we're in the match, and you can tell Esteli smelling blood right now, already up those 2 goals and having the bulk of the possession through our first 40 minutes tonight.
I was waiting for Henry Garcia to try to find a crease right there just a moment ago, but decided to go ahead and retreat a little bit with it. Managua's got to stay on the other end of the pitch for a little bit and try to get something going.
Pushing up from the back, Campers Perez. With Agenor Baez in support. Nice little overlapping run. Here's Figueroa. Looking for the touch off Rosas, but it looked like he just flicked it right over the Esteli defender's head, and it is out. It's never touched by Rosas, out for a goal kick. A lot of those type of plays tonight, James. Little penetrating runs, but not amounting to much for the hosts.
Yeah, it just seems like they can't have anyone right there for the follow-up or maybe for the rebound, and just can't quite get organized. And then you mentioned Esteli as well, rising up defensively at just the right times, and they're doing that here again tonight.
Baez again. It is good to see him fully match fit. He didn't play the entire Apertura last year, but did appear in 21 matches, all starts in the Clausura last spring. And another card coming out. Oh, Manuel Rosas furious as he tries to defend Richard Rodriguez. And if you're Esteli, you're already up 2-0. The last thing you want is another one of these confrontations resulting in somebody getting sent off, and that's exactly what will happen. Now, Richard Rodriguez, you can just sense it, James. He was getting way too close to Bayardo Juarez, the referee. We'll hope to see a replay on the initial challenge, but just a brutal error to make in judgment by Richard Rodriguez. He is off in the first half, and this game has completely changed. Even though Esteli up 2 goals, they're now down a man for the final, basically half and a few minutes.
Very unfortunate here. You get another look at it there. It didn't look like there was a whole lot going on from Richard Rodriguez. Looks like he might have hooked him a little bit with his foot, but Rodriguez kept jawing at the official, and credit to Marlon Lopez for trying to, or excuse me, Manuel Rosas for trying to de-escalate the situation, but Rodriguez kept going, and you could just feel it intensify until ultimately that red card came out from Bayardo Juarez.
It wasn't about the challenge. It was all about the reaction from Richard Rodriguez.
Indeed.
And the only player for Esteli who had been on the pitch for all 720 minutes of the team's first 8 league matches is now off. And not only is he off the rest of tonight, but both he and Juan Barrera now suspended for the next match. And Rodriguez is kind of an alarming stat. He's the 4th Esteli player to be sent off this season, now in the 9th match of the year. So what can Managua do with the man advantage? First, they push off in the box, so no chance to get a ball on goal here.
Well, if the recent turn of events, Ben, don't light a fire underneath this Managua Blue Lions team, I really don't know what will, especially at home, as we get another look here at the last chance.
It looked like the offside flag having gone up on Marcos Gonzalez instead of a push-off. I think there was both, in all honesty. Could have called either. And Esteli, they find themselves in a precarious position. It's not all that often you see teams win multiple matches despite being down players. But Esteli, they've already won twice this year when having at least one man sent off. Now, you can look at the first one of those instances, James, the Jalapa match, which they won 2-1, but Henry Garcia, he was sent off in extra time, so I don't know that that really counts. But the Dirian Hen match, they won 1-0. They ended up with only 9 players on the pitch, both Barrera and Mosquera sent off. So they are somewhat used to this position. It's not a position you want to be in, but just a bizarre lack of judgment from a guy who's been so rock solid, the 28-year-old, and Richard Rodriguez.
Yeah, he's a fixture on this ball club, and he's going to be missed for sure, especially in that next game, along with the other player who was penalized for Real Esteli. And it's unfortunate, but that's a sign of a good team that they're able to recover from adversity and find a way to overcome it and somehow figure out a way to win.
You can also imagine that the halftime team talks, it would be worth just sticking a little camera on the corner of the locker room just to see what I'm sure Holver Flores, if you're a coach, you have to just be irate at your team for that when you're up 2-0 and in complete control of the match. And on the other side, for Emilio Alberto, the Managua head coach, not the start he was looking for, a disappointing 2-0 deficit, but his team will have a chance to work their way back into the match as this cross sent right towards Rodrigo Romo at the near post.
Well, we have 3 minutes of stoppage time now here as we end our first half of action, and Managua would be in really good shape if they could somehow get one in the net here before we go into the locker room.
Yeah, as a result of some of the injuries, of course, the red card, the 3 added minutes at the end of the first 45. And what is the 66th meeting all-time between these two teams? 36 wins for Esteli in those. They've won the lion's share of the meetings, but you also have to consider Managua is such a young club. They were first promoted to Liga Primera back in 2010, so they've only been in the top flight for a decade. But have won 1 title in that span and appeared in, I believe it's 6 championship matches.
Well, pretty impressive that they were promoted to top flight just after 4 years of existence. So a young club overall, but a successful club even in their young tenure.
Yeah, it is the 6 finals they've appeared in, only the 1 win, but considering that they have really established themselves as one of the big 4 clubs alongside Esteli, Dirian Hen, Walter Ferretti, it does say a lot about just the embers of the club really at the base and how they have garnered a lot of local fan support. You saw the flares being sent off a moment ago. I think a lot of the Managua fans feel like that, setting off a flare with how the way the first half has gone. But again, their team is now up a man, and they'll have another half to try and work at that 2-goal deficit. Both goals coming from Juan Barrera, the league's leading scorer. 1 from the spot, 1 on a glancing header off the post and in.
Just great team play so far here tonight for Esteli on both ends of the pitch.
And it'll have to probably be a lot more defending now going forward, with Richard Rodriguez being sent off in the 41st minute. 2 yellow cards, both for arguing with the official. Dissension, as they call it.
Castillo down there for Esteli.
And that will do it in the first half as a chippy and contentious opening 45 finally comes to an end. Our official, Bayardo Juarez, he's had enough. He sends both players to the locker room as we have reached halftime. It is, though, those 2 goals from Juan Barrera to put Esteli in front, James, as you get a look at those first half stats.
Well, it was really all Esteli in the first half. They came out on fire. You could feel them pushing the pace from the opening kick, and they really didn't give many chances or really any good chances to Managua at all during the first half.
So the 2 Barrera goals put Esteli in front, but the league leaders without Richard Rodriguez. He was sent off. They'll be down to 10 for the second 45. You can enjoy some of the first half highlights while we step aside. We'll be back for the second half in a few minutes. Again, it is Esteli 2, Managua 0 at the break.
Nos has acompañado en cada minuto jugado. Has estado con tu camiseta alentando en la gradería. El Independencia ha rugido con tu grito de combate. Tus bengalas han iluminado los campos de juego. Has estado en cada batalla, en cada victoria, en cada derrota. Esta vez, por las circunstancias en las que enfrenta el mundo, por esa batalla que vamos a ganar, las graderías están vacías, pero nunca nos sentimos solos, porque tu camiseta, tu grito, tus bengalas nos iluminaron el corazón hasta el último minuto. Y como en cada final, dejamos todo en la cancha por vos. Este título tiene tu nombre. Gracias, fanaticada. Yo soy del tren.
Viví la nueva experiencia digital del campeón nacional de Nicaragua. Ingresá a realestelifc.com y disfruta de la nueva app online del Tren del Norte. Noticias, resultados, estadísticas, videos y todas nuestras series en un solo lugar. Recibí notificaciones directamente en tu dispositivo. Suscríbete ahora y sé parte de la familia rojiblanca.
The Train of the North invites you to subscribe to its new YouTube channel. where you can enjoy live matches, scores, interviews, and exclusive content from the greatest soccer club and reigning Nicaraguan champion. The time to be engaged with the international train has arrived. Follow the train from the north.
Llegó el momento de dar el gran paso,
de pasar el legado a una nueva generación.
Es el momento de trascender
y ser más que un gran equipo.
Es el momento de honrar grandes proezas.
Y recordar grandes momentos.
Porque la historia no solo se recuerda.
La historia se escribe y se vive.
Hoy más que nunca vamos con el tren a todas partes.
Porque somos un solo equipo.
Llevamos la sangre kamikaze.
Por un solo campeón.
Por una sola grandeza.
Por un nuevo Real Estelí.
Grande, solo el tren.
Hoy no solo nace un nuevo equipo.
Hoy nace una institución que evoluciona.
Es el inicio de una nueva era.
El legado continúa.
El diamante de las Segovias brilla por sí mismo. Eran los 60s cuando dejamos de esperar ese sueño que nos llegó sobre rieles e iniciamos la búsqueda de nuestro propio legado. La participación de un primer campeonato nos abrió paso a la época dorada del fútbol nacional. De ahí partió nuestro propio tren, el Tren del Norte. Fue en la siguiente parada donde se marcó el inicio de nuestra leyenda. En julio del 91, una ronda de penales inauguró la época real. Por los últimos 30 años, hemos ido con el tren a todas partes, con un corazón rojo y el alma blanca. Campeones que salimos al mundo por Nicaragua. Volvemos a la independencia con la emoción de la próxima temporada, defendiendo una racha imparable del Club Nacional de Fútbol más exitoso hasta la fecha. 8,000 almas nos reunimos en el mejor estadio de fútbol del país a celebrar, llorar, sufrir y rugir por la camiseta rojiblanca. La barra kamikaze entrega todo en las gradas por la hegemonía y el legado de su equipo. Juntos sudamos la camiseta y brillamos por nuestros propios compromisos con el deporte nacional. Somos el Tren, quienes orgullosamente representamos la primera institución deportiva de Centroamérica. Ese es nuestro legado. Un mismo equipo, un mismo país, la herencia que viene de la montaña. Ahora, una marca deportiva de campeones nicaragüenses con futuras generaciones que seguirán brillando como diamantes en la corona del Real Estelí.
Players coming out on the pitch now as we're getting ready for our second half from the Estadio Nacional in the capital of Nicaragua, Managua, as Real Esteli, the league leaders and leaders in this match, by a 2-0 scoreline against the hosts, the Blue Lions of Managua FC. As we welcome you back, Ben Wilson alongside James Poovey. And James, a big storyline so far, the first half brace from Juan Barrera, the number 11 in the red and white for the visitors, the Train of the North. But Richard Rodriguez sent off toward the end of that first half, 2 yellows for getting into it with our lead official, Bayardo Juarez. The classic dissension double yellow and a sending off, and that has really changed the tenor of this match. Managua now have that proverbial lifeline, if you will, with the man advantage, and we'll see if they can make a dent into that 2-0 deficit as we start the second half.
Yeah, it was an unfortunate red card for Richard Rodriguez and for Real Esteli, because it really was a very slight infraction, but Rodriguez upset enough that he drawed the ire of our official tonight, Bayardo Juarez, and he just kind of kept forcing the issue, and Juarez had to finally stop things by issuing the red card, which is going to affect him not only tonight, but in the next match as well.
Also in the first half, Juan Barrera picking up his 5th yellow card of the year, so he'll also be missing the next match, as Esteli will elect to make one halftime sub. Edgar Castillo, called up from the youth team last weekend, played the first half as well in that match. He's off. Brandon Ayertes, team's leading scorer last year, who has really struggled to find his goal-scoring form, just 1 goal and 8 appearances this season, comes in off the bench for Holver Flores, the number 18. A like-for-like move as Real Esteli gets set to kick us off in this second half. A win would keep them atop of the table. If you look at the table, Esteli and Walter Ferretti tied at the top with 20 points entering this 9th match day out of 18 in the fall Apertura season. Esteli with the superior goal differential, and Walter Ferretti, they face off against Chinandega tomorrow afternoon. We are underway now, second 45 from the Estadio Nacional. 2-0 Real Esteli, but down a man as we kick things off. Should point out, James, in the meantime, Managua entering this match day 5th in the table. They've actually fallen to 6th now in the live table. That was because Ocotal, a upset victory over Dirian Hen. Another loss for Dirian Hen in the league tonight. Ocotal winning earlier today, as they now are on 11 points. That's good for 4th in the league. Managua sitting in 6th currently. And that would hold if they were to fall again tonight, just 10 points. Again, it is one of those cases where the top 6 make it into the playoffs. First 2 seeds get byes into the semifinals of the end of fall tournament, but not where you want to be if you're the defending 2-time finalists and defending League Cup champion from last year, Managua. But they have their work cut out for them, at least in this one here tonight.
Yeah, they're going to have to get something going offensively here tonight. Not only tonight, but as this season progresses, Ben, if they want to make it back to the finals where they were last season. And you talk about a team that's been struggling. That's Dirian Hen this season. The Cacique, the oldest team in Nicaraguan professional soccer, but they are having trouble as of late.
You see this in a lot of leagues, though, where you'll have a team or multiple teams really struggle in the league, but they'll do great in the cups or the other competitions. And that's played out in Liga Primera this year, where Esteli, they crashed out in the quarterfinals of the League Cup, but Managua and Dirian Hen, who met last year in the Cup final, won on penalties by Managua. Those two appear to be on a crash course again, because Managua faces a second division side in Somotillo, and Dirian Hen, they just knocked out Esteli in the last round, 2-1 on aggregate. So it's funny, you have two teams in horrible form in the league, but they might be squaring off for a trophy in a couple weeks' time.
You never know what you're going to get. That's why they play the games, right, Ben?
Well, you were on the call for the second leg of that League Cup quarterfinal match, the 2-0 win for Dirian. And that of all matches since fans were allowed back into the grounds, and that applied as well, that rule for the League Cup. That felt like the one match so far of all that that we've seen, James, that really did have an impact as far as the crowd, because it was a great crowd in Diriamba for that match. And after Esteli had won a pair of 1-0 matches in their ground over the preceding weeks, one in the League Cup, one in the league, they fell in that match as Josue Quijano's ball in, takes a couple of knocks around in the box, and eventually the offside flag appeared to be up on Barrera on the far side.
You mentioned that match against Dirion Hen. I almost got a sense that evening that Dirion Hen, after the two previous losses against Esteli, were just kind of able to relax. The pressure really wasn't on them after the previous two defeats, and they were able to just go out there and kind of play wide open, and that's exactly what they did that night.
But their struggles in league play continue. The arch rival of Esteli, the visitors tonight. We'll see how much of a defensive-minded approach it is from Holver Flores and his group of 10 men now on the pitch as they try to protect the 2-0 lead. You would think with their experience and their skill, James, they wouldn't be just sitting on the ball trying to just park the bus, so to speak, but you never know. You might see that as the match goes on. If Managua, maybe if they get a goal back and make this a little bit tighter, here it's a chance at a set piece for Leandro Figueroa.
Yeah, you wouldn't imagine they would try to sit on it. That if you're Esteli, you want to keep attack and try to get that third goal and really put it away, because with being down a man right now, Managua, if they're able to get one somehow here, we got ourselves a game again.
One of the newcomers this year, Leandro Figueroa, looks to send it far post. They get the flick on, and they get the goal. Perfectly executed on the set piece as the goal comes for Kevin Serapio, but it looks like they will wave it off. Offside flag, a delayed offside flag goes up, and Serapio cannot believe it. He thought he'd scored for sure on a flicked on header to the back post.
Rigoberto Fuentes also in there expressing his discontent. That's unbelievable right there. We're going to get another look at it here. Let's see what happens.
Again, watch for the first header. Where is Serapio when the ball hits off the head?
Right there.
This is the spot, right here. You know?
Ooh.
That is so close, James, but I think if you had to choose, it looked like he was just barely offside. It's a tough call to make. I think they got that right, though. When you slow it down, and as we're broadcasting remotely, we have to thank our hardworking crew on the ground tonight in Managua for getting us that replay. But I do think they got it right on the far side.
Yeah, a tough call to make, as you said, Ben, but the right call in that instance. You could see the replay there, and again, credit to the ground crew there for the outstanding slow-motion replay and the reverse replay to get a really good look at that play. But a right call there by the officiating crew here tonight.
It's just so tough at the same time, though, for Managua. You work so hard, you're up a man, down 2 goals, and it was really well executed. You're just trying to get enough bodies in the middle there to get that flicked-on header. And it ended up coming off the head of an Esteli man right to Serapio, who was looking for his first goal of the season. He'll have to wait a little bit longer. And in all that bustle following the play, Rigoberto Fuentes given a yellow for expressing his frustration. So Fuentes into the book. We also get our first sub of the night as Ricardo Mendieta is on for the youngster Jonathan Sanchez of Managua. So each team having used one sub.
And you mentioned the frustration by Managua. That would have really been a big game changer right there if that one would have stood.
Still, though, a lot of time left for a team up a man. This shot's well wide from Brian Castillo, looking for a deflection, but didn't look like it, and it's a goal kick for Rodrigo Romo.
And if you're Managua, you'd love to get a goal going here to motivate your defense, too, for a little bit more hustle.
Speaking of defense, and that's what Real Esteli up 2-0, but again, down the man will have to do a lot of the rest of the way. You think about the confidence level of Rodrigo Romo. How much would a clean sheet do for his level of confidence when you, especially with that man disadvantage on his side, when you think about how much of a nightmare it was his last time out as a starter. In that match you called, James, the 2-0 loss, 2 goals that probably never should have gone in, that were both fumbled by Romo basically over the line. And this is his first appearance since that night in Diriamba. Denver Fox was in goal last week for the 0-0 draw against Junior Managua for Esteli.
Yeah, Rodrigo Romo's had almost 2 weeks to ponder that game, and he's come out here and performed outstanding tonight so far here for Esteli. And if he's able to get a shutout here, boy, that would definitely boost his confidence to an amazing level.
Yeah, it's one of those nights you ruminate on for a while, and he's had, it's been now 10, 11 days to think about it. Set piece here for Esteli. Takes a bounce to Acevedo, but couldn't quite get it level as he sends it into the crowd. That's where most of our 600 fans congregate tonight, behind the Managua goal. Oscar Acevedo, who's had a flair for dramatic goals at times, scored a big one against Dirian Hen in the Clausura playoffs last season, the game winner, and that 1-0 aggregate semifinal win. Crowd, though, has not had much to cheer about tonight for the hosts. After a lively start to the match, quickly put out by Juan Barrera's 8th-minute goal, and then followed up with his penalty in the 20th after Henry Garcia was brought down in the box.
Yeah, there's a couple more opportunities that I thought we might get to see a few more of those fireworks that we saw just there before the game started here tonight. But not a whole lot for these Managuan fans to cheer about this evening, but we'll see. There's plenty of time left. There could be a couple more opportunities for the Blue Lions here.
You're right. Still a lot of time. Kevin Serapio thought he'd pulled one back for Managua a few minutes ago, the longest tenured player on the team, Serapio, in his 7th season, but it was ruled to be offside. Very narrow decision, but one in which, after we got a couple looks at it, due to replay, did appear to be the right call. Of course, no VAR in Nicaraguan soccer, so you have to go with the call on the field, but it did look like they got it right on a very close call, and it stays 2-0.
Yeah, that's a tough one. That's definitely a judgment call for the officiating crew, but they made the right one there here tonight.
Managua in those blue and yellow kits with the man advantage after Richard Rodriguez was given his marching orders late in the first half. They've had the bulk of the possession, as you'd expect, coming out in the second half in that one glorious chance.
Now, do you think Rodriguez is in the locker room right now watching on closed-circuit television, Ben, or do you think he's already headed home for the evening? What are your thoughts?
Well, I doubt. I don't know what the COVID protocols are on the travel, but I doubt.
That's true.
I doubt he is headed home on his own. That's a good question. I'm not sure the availability of the closed circuit at the Estadio Nacional. Might not want to be watching after putting his team in a tough position, albeit up to 2 goals. And again, here comes Managua pushing forward. They get a corner as Gallego, team's leading scorer, and the leading scorer in Liga Primera all of last season, having a quiet evening, but he does draw a corner right here.
Great look at the goal cam there. Get a good shot of number 1, Rodrigo Romo.
Gallego, one of the 4 former Real Esteli players, who has been quite the well-traveled professional, the native of Spain. But Esteli, who have a very robust international scouting presence, brought in Gallego from the Greek league, from Larissa, back in 2017. He was good for Esteli, scored 8 goals in 9 starts across 18 appearances. And then continued his global tour, you could say.
Yeah.
There's a penetrating run into the box, but it looked like a push-off there from Nayum Peralta, another former Esteli man.
Both players down on the pitch right now.
And Peralta, should be noted, is on a yellow. Here's another look.
Peralta, nice job moving past Juan Mosquera there, and then he caught a little elbow, it looked like there, from Christian Gutierrez.
It didn't look to be intentional. Official
Flop
tonight.
Job there, Ben.
Yeah, he's been busy. Bayardo Juarez, not trying to overreact, but it did look like did see small contact, but didn't look like there was a whole lot in that from Christian Gutierrez. And not a lot of appeals either from the Managua side. That usually gives you a good
And how about
indication.
the replay? Excellent job.
Peralta actually transferred to Managua after he faced them as a member of Esteli in the 2018 Apertura finals. That was the match the two-legged tie that gave Managua its first ever Liga Primera title. Peralta was on the wrong side of that fixture, but a memorable night for the Blue Lions as they finally got over the hump. You think about their path after being promoted for the first time in 2010, they lost in the semifinals each of their first 7 championship round appearances. Finally got to the title match in 2017 and lost, but got back in 2018 to Esteli and were able to knock off the Train of the North under Emilio Alberto, and he's been in charge of the club ever since. That was his first year in charge of the Blue Lions.
Yeah, we've talked all broadcast about the success of Managua in their relatively young tenure. And it took them 4 years to get promoted to the top flight, and then 8 more years later they capture their first title.
Here comes Barrera, sneaks it past the keeper. Acevedo couldn't close his legs in time as Barrera, against the run of play, has his hat trick. And Esteli, despite being down a man, goes up 3 goals to the good. A night to remember for Barrera.
Unbelievable. Juan Barrera, 31-year-old, out of Ocotal, Nicaragua. A hat trick this evening. Congratulations. What a performance tonight for Juan Barrera. They don't have an answer for him here, Ben.
First in the 8th, then the 20th from the penalty spot, and now just before the hour mark. Juan Barrera, 12th goal of the season in his 9th appearance.
One look at it off the head. A hard charger there. A great job on the hustle there for Barrera. And just a little dead leg there just in front of the goalie. Put him to sleep and put it right past him. There it is. Excellent shot there from the goal cam. Juan Barrera, what an evening tonight. 3 goals. Oh, switches it up. Beautiful shot there for Barrera.
The old-fashioned one-man counterattack. Sometimes doesn't matter if you have 11 on the pitch, 10 on the pitch. If you have one guy as electric as Juan Barrera, but here, immediately, there's a response. Well, so much for that lead as Managua pulls it back. It's now 3-1. And Brian Castillo has his second goal in as many matches. The Honduran getting a warm welcome to Liga Primera action. Less than a minute after the Barrera goal, he tries to fire up the crowd. Brian Castillo makes it 3-1.
Great job there for Castillo. A quick response there for Managua. And, Ben, we still got about 28 minutes left here in regulation, so if they're able to get one in the next little while, we might still have ourselves a game here as we get another look at that one there. Excellent job elevating there for Castillo. And right off the dome and into the net.
And while Pablo Gallego hasn't seen a whole lot of chances in front of goal to score, that was a beautiful ball. Put it right to the head of his teammate. And Brian Castillo scored in the 65th minute on Wednesday in the first leg of the League Cup semifinals against Saltillo, and he has one in the 62nd minute tonight after Barrera scored in the 60th. Basically a minute apart, the 2 goals. And again, with it being a 2-goal margin, you have to remember Managua with the man advantage, Esteli down to 10. We will get a card, though, on Barrera.
Oh.
And that's his second yellow. Wow. He has 3 goals tonight, 2 yellow cards, and is now done.
And
Juan
then he gets
Barrera becomes the second Esteli man sent off. And for the second time this season, Esteli will finish a match with only 9 men. Amazing.
Well, the plot thickens here, Ben. You can hear the crowd intensifying their roar in the background. We're going to get one more look at it here. Barrera. Just a little frustration. It looks like he caught the head of the Managuan player there. So, wow, what a turn of events.
Yeah, Aguinarbaya is the one who got hit there by Barrera. Managua will now use its second sub of the night. And a crazy night in the nation's capital continues to get even weirder. Andy Herrera, the 6-foot defender, replaces Canthers Perez, so a like for like at the back for Emilio Alberto.
Well, Esteli just giving Managua 9 lives here tonight, Ben. If Managua can take advantage, we'll see what they can do. They keep getting the chances. Can they capitalize?
I guess, yeah, I mean, for Juan Barrera, you were already going to be suspended a match. He'd picked up his 5th yellow card of the season in the first half, so I guess just trying to get his money's worth. But that does not help your team as he becomes the second player to get sent off. Manuel Rosas now goes into the book as well. The longest tenured player on the Train of the North squad. And this is something you don't see every day. You know, we almost joked about the last time we saw this when it was 1-0 Esteli, but down to 9 men against Dirian Hen. How often do you see 3-1 with the team in front, the 2 goals down to 9 men? This is a rare occurrence. And Esteli will now have about 25 minutes plus any stoppage time to try and navigate it.
Yeah, they're going to have to do something with this, and they're going to have to really tighten the screws on defense because they're down 2 men now. To Managua, and Managua has got to be able to take advantage of that as we get a look at Brandon Ayer just setting up for the corner kick now.
It's not unheard of to see goals scored 10v11, but 9v11 is something else, and we've seen it right now. Yon Mosquera, what a thunderbolt header. No chance for Acevedo as Mosquera makes it 4.
Unbelievable. Off the foot of Ayerdes, you can see him celebrating right there with Yon Mosquera. What a great play there for Esteli, and they are now breaking it wide open here in Managua. Mosquera, a little victory lap there.
You can't help but just laugh at this point if you're Yon Mosquera or anybody watching this match. Mosquera, who only scored once last year, only 5 times in 211 matches in his 11-year pro career in his native Colombia. But that is as good of a header as you will see off a corner.
That had some velocity on it too there. That was going faster off his head, I think, than it was off the foot of Ayerdes on that one. What a goal.
Well, I said about 30 seconds ago, James, I've never seen a goal 9v11, but I crossed that off the old bucket list.
Yeah.
4-1 Esteli, and they're still down 2 men. It's just amazing.
Wow. Just shows you the depth for Esteli and the skill with the players that are out there on the pitch. And you know, they got subs that come in and really do a great job in relief. So this team is just very talented.
The crazy thing is, James, this is far from over.
Oh, yes.
Have over 20 minutes, a team with a 2-man advantage. They scored about a minute after Barrera made it 3-0 on the goal by Brian Castillo. But Nayum Peralta will be called for a foul here. I'll say this beats 0-0.
Yeah, exactly, right? What a difference a week makes.
And that's not just being selfish. I mean, it's the truth. You get 5 goals, 2 red cards. It is. It makes for an entertaining evening and some chaos down the stretch.
Yeah, we were talking with our producer before the broadcast tonight. We were just kind of secretly saying, hopefully we get some goals tonight, and asking you shall receive.
And wouldn't be surprised if we see more before the night is over. A big collision near the corner flag, and this choppy match will. Yeah, this will be some sort of delay now as we see Ayrtis watch Figueroa come in, and did embellish that a little bit. This will result in another stoppage. Yeah, as Leandro Juarez is trying to keep this match under control, whatever semblance of under control we still have. With 2
now we got some
off.
pushing and shoving between the sideline crew there. Tempers flaring, Ben.
We already saw one Esteli man sent off due to a confrontation with the official, and that is the backup keeper for Esteli, Denver Fox, who just shoved a Managua player right by the touchline.
That was a right cross there, Ben. Check this out. Now we're going to get a look at Quijano. Put it in earlier. We're going to see the... Wow, Denver Fox came out there and laid a right hand, I want to say.
We're getting a look at the goals, but I would think, and this replay, I mean, it's nice to see the goals. I just wonder what the aftermath of that confrontation was down by the corner flag, because you could see just in the very edge of your picture, Denver Fox, it did look like a pretty vicious shove on one of the Managua players congregating by that corner flag. You'd think the Fox would have to be sent off, you'd think. Of course, he's not in the match, so it doesn't really affect the proceedings on the pitch, but...
Right.
I'm not sure how they will
even more of a reason to have it thrown out, unfortunately.
In the meantime, we can see the build-up to this 4-1 scoreline. The 3 goals from Juan Barrera. You saw the first off the header, second from the spot after Garcia drew a foul on Rigoberto Fuentes. And then this was the one-man counter. His team down a man at this point, slotting it past the keeper Lester Acevedo.
What a goal right there for Barrera. Flip the hips, just a little dead leg, and with a touch into the net. Stoking the fire there in front of the fence.
Yeah, that would be the peak, though, of Barrera's night, because he would be sent off shortly after, and in the meantime, the goal from Castillo to make it 3-1, but the immediate follow-up by Ion Mosquera on that cracker of a header to make it 4-1, and with Esteli already having 2 men sent off, we just had this confrontation near the touchline, and we're just waiting for this replay package to end so that we can see the aftermath here. But you would think at least one player has been sent off in Denver Fox who is not in the match. I don't know if anybody will be sent off for Managua, and it looks like they will. Leandro Figueroa has been sent off, the midfielder.
Wow. How about that? And I wonder if Denver Fox is indeed sent out, if that might affect his stance for the next game.
Not only has Figueroa been sent off, but Marcos Gonzalez has also been sent off. And like I presume Denver Fox, he is gone. But again, he was not on the pitch, so he is out. The backup keeper. So should anything happen to Rodrigo Romo, there will not be a backup keeper.
We still have issues down there.
Managua players not happy, and the officials now are going to discuss things. Our head official Leandro Juarez signaling everybody to come together, his officiating crew. He wants to talk. But assuming that these are all the cards that have come out, we would be looking at a 9-on-9 scenario for the final 20 minutes. in a 4-1 match. Esteli on top.
And we should be looking at a good amount of stoppage time as well, Ben, after all this fracas on the pitch here over the recent minutes.
Well, it's not the type of sequence you want to see, a near brawl breaking out. It just adds to the chaos tonight. You see Francisco Paz entering the match now. Second sub of 3 used by Esteli for Josue Quijano. And an opportunity really wasted by Managua. Even though they're down 3 goals, they still had the 2-man advantage. That now does not exist. And we will see I'm sure a very odd-looking pitch, especially when we see both teams, or one team or the other, try and push forward with so few players now. Only 18 compared to the normal 22 you see out there.
Yeah, if you're Esteli now you can just play keep away for the last little less than 20 minutes here of the match regarding any additional stoppage time. And that might be what they do here, because now we're evenly matched at 9 apiece.
And if you're wondering, in normal rules, any more than 3 players sent off on a particular team basically results in a forfeiture. So you can't go any lower than 8 on 8, or have 8 men on the pitch. If you go down to 7, if you somehow get 4 men sent off,
game over.
It's not like in basketball where you could just keep getting guys fouled out and play with as few guys as possible. Game is over if you go below 8. I don't think we're going to get into that territory, but
it's been a crazy night. Never say never.
Yeah, we have seen 4 players sent off, 2 on each side, 5 goals overall in the match, and now.
Oh, now we got something looks like it's dislocated there. Oh boy.
We at least see some sportsmanship. The Esteli players. Yeah, I don't want to go that far, James. I don't think it was that bad. It looked more than anything like a severe cramp based on the way the Managua player, and we'll try to get a ID. That is the goal scorer, Brian Castillo. I don't want to speculate on injuries. No way to know, but based on the way they're stretching, that definitely looks like a pretty severe cramp with the way he's grabbing his calf muscle, and with how Mascara and Rosas trying to help him stretch it out. But in a lot of pain is Castillo.
Great to see the sportsmanship there, as you mentioned, Ben, helping the other players out.
Well, on a night that has lacked it for most of the evening, it is good to see. You mentioned it. It's pretty warm and humid, as we usually expect, around 80 degrees tonight in the capital of Nicaragua. So the cramps are not an uncommon thing, but hopefully Castillo is all right. Looks like there will be a sub coming on in the meantime for Managua, as Modesto Agurcia, 22-year-old in his first season with the club, gets ready to enter. And it will be Castillo who comes off.
What an interesting night. We thought for a little bit that Managua was going to make a run at it, and they started to make a charge, and then they ended up having a 2-man advantage, and then ultimately couldn't take advantage of that 2-man advantage, and now we're even Steven at 9 apiece. And he is still down on the pitch. There is Castillo.
Yeah, as they try and massage that calf muscle, writhing in pain. And that also brings us to our second half cooling break. I think the officiating crew hoping that cooler heads prevail in this final quarter hour. But a match that has had a little bit of everything tonight. 4 goals for Esteli, 1 for Managua, and each player with 2 men sent off.
You would have to imagine that Bayardo Juarez is definitely wanting to get this one over with without any more carnage of any kind. As you see him card off Brian Castillo now.
Yeah, we are expecting a good amount of stoppage time once we get to that 90-minute mark. And it's also not that often you see a player both score a hat trick and get sent off, but that happened tonight. Juan Barrera, goals in the 8th, 20th, and 60th minutes, but he was sent off for 2 yellows. Goal from Castillo, who's now out of the match for Managua, right after the 3rd Barrera goal in the 62nd minute. And then it was a brilliant header off a corner from Leon Mascara for the 4th goal for Esteli. But at that point, Managua still had an 11-on-9 advantage until a shove by Leandro Figueroa of Brandon Ayertis of Esteli right by the corner flag. That started a big scuffle, caused 2 Managua players to be sent off, Gonzalez and Figueroa. Figueroa for that initial shove, Gonzalez for something in the dust-up that ensued, and along with that, the Esteli backup goalie, Denver Fox, was sent off.
Denver Fox said, hey, everybody's having so much fun, I got to get involved myself in this thing here tonight.
So Rodrigo Romo will have to make sure he doesn't have any sort of muscle pull over these next 12-plus minutes, because there's nobody else to come and go right now for Esteli.
You would have to imagine they have some sort of emergency goalkeeper, though, wouldn't you think, Ben?
Well, usually when you have the 18-man team, so you have your 11 starters, your 7 on the bench, and usually only one of those 7 is a keeper, so you're basically forced to just pick an outfield player. It's mostly in the case of a goalie getting sent off. If there have been instances of that in international soccer where you have a goalie get injured, backup comes on, gets sent off, and then you have to, you basically just choose an outfield player to be put in goal. You can't just send off the goalie and have nobody in that position, so you just have to essentially sacrifice one of those outfield positions and have that player go in goal. So that would be what would happen.
I wonder if there's been a time where you had a goalie go down and you had your backup goalie go out before the goalie went down even.
Right, the bench red card. That is also not a very, very frequent occurrence. We've seen a lot of
You're getting payback from last week's kind of non-action in that 0-0 draw, and you're getting all kinds of stuff here tonight, Ben.
I guess it's evened out, but if I will say last week, and this was a match that was played on this ground, which is also shared by a number of the Managua-based Liga Primera teams. Esteli drew 0-0 at Junior Managua, and I wouldn't say there was no action. I mean, Esteli had, I believe it was 11 shots on target, 15 shots total, and they had 3 or 4 that probably should have gone in. Free headers or near tap-ins right across the face of goal that they could not convert. But the goals have come in bunches tonight as Francisco Paz lays it off. Ayertis, he's a player trying to rediscover his goal-scoring form from last year when he scored a team-high 11. But Esteli at the moment, they look content just to pass the ball around. So enjoy this rare stretch of 9-on-9.
Yes,
with 9 to go. And a corner for Managua.
Esteli trying to keep their streak intact. They came out here on fire here tonight and really never looked back. A couple times during the match tonight where you felt the momentum start to shift slightly. Nice save there for Rodrigo Romo. You started to feel the momentum shift slightly towards Managua, but right as it did, Esteli quickly shutting it down.
And despite Esteli losing in the League Cup a couple weeks ago, they still have their now 17-match unbeaten streak intact in the league, and that, of course, includes draws. Gallego cut off by Romo. Does well to shield any sort of cutback angle, and it's deflected last off of Gallego and out for a goal kick.
Great job there by Romo. There's that moment in time where that goalie has to commit and go out and attack that ball, and he did a great job on that one right there.
And so I mentioned Denver Fox sent off, even though he wasn't a part of the match, it still carries the standard 1-game suspension, and that's what it will happen for all the players sent off tonight. 5 of them in total. So it will be Romo to make the next start for Esteli, even though they've been alternating. Still that top goalie position, certainly up for grabs. Pretty good cross coming in here as Managua tries to make things interesting, although seems like they've lost their opportunity to cut into the deficit now that they have an equal amount of players on the pitch. It was 11-on-9 at one point, but now 9-on-9.
Now, let's say you get a red card, Ben, and then is that next game, is that a paid vacation day, or is that going to be a unpaid vacation day, as it were? What are your thoughts?
I think the people that write the contracts in charge of the club finances, I'm sure they'd love for that to be an unpaid day off, but I do not think that applies, no.
Probably not.
A bottle from the stands comes flying onto the pitch, and we'll get a stoppage as more objects are being flung.
Oh, boy, here we go.
And not what you want to see. Official is trying to get the players away from any of these projectiles, and on a night that, it has been entertaining. It's been wild, it's been unpredictable, but you don't want to see it devolve into something like this where fans are throwing things at the players on the pitch. And
yeah, you never want to see that.
Kind of a few stragglers just frustrated at how the night has progressed for their home side.
And yet just adding more stoppage time here, Ben. Just unfortunate to see from the home crowd. Their frustration evident here tonight. Their team has struggled as of late, even over the past couple of seasons. And their frustration manifesting itself here.
At the same time, Managua, a club that have gotten off to slow starts in the past. You think back to Emilio Alberto, his first year in charge, which was the season where Managua won their first ever title. They began that season with just 1 win and 6 losses in their first 7. Sacked Tyrone Acevedo, who was in his first year, and brought in Emilio Alberto. Here we get a yellow, by the way, to Jorge Betancourt. So Alberto comes in, team is in last place with 6 straight losses. They go 7-2-2 over the last 11 matches, get into the playoffs, then upset Esteli in the Apertura championship to advance, and just kind of amazing that was how the turnaround happened for Alberto. That was back in the 2017 Apertura, and it wasn't his first stint. This is the 3rd stint now for Emilio Alberto. But you can point back to that and think, okay, it's certainly not as bad a start as that one when they were 1-6. They'll be 3-1-5 after tonight, and still technically in the playoff positions. It's kind of hard to miss the playoffs if you're one of these top teams with 6 of the 10 getting in. So not all hope should be lost as we reach the halfway mark of this 2020 fall season for Managua. But still a lot of work to do, like you mentioned, James.
Oh yes, a tough hill to climb for Managua, and it looks like they're probably gonna drop this one here tonight to Real Esteli, but they'll get back to form.
Andy Herrera, the sub, he goes into the book. Yeah, we'll get our stat count at the end of the night. It's going to be an interesting looking
yeah, it should be
graphic. I have lost track of the number of yellows we've seen tonight, and injured player for Esteli as well as a result of that challenge. And it looks like Oliver Flores will make his final sub here. Marlon Lopez, the former Managua man and native of the Nicaraguan capital, gets set to come on.
Marlon Lopez effective on the pitch as well for Real Esteli. Most times he's out there. 27-year-old in his 6th year with the club and his 2nd stint with Real Esteli.
He and Oscar Lopez, who has not appeared tonight, but Marlon Lopez and Henry Garcia, the two players on the pitch, former members of Managua. Although Lopez had an extended stint, 3 seasons, earlier in the decade, 2013 to 15, and he scored 16 goals in that time.
We've definitely seen the stretcher in use more tonight than I ever have before.
Yeah, still trying to get a look again at that challenge. I get an ID on the player as well. We do know Lopez is in, the 27-year-old.
Right on cue, he's right there on it.
Yeah, he replaces another former Managua player in Henry Garcia. So Garcia's night comes to an end. He drew that penalty back in the 20th minute that Barrera capitalized on to make it 2-0, Esteli. But thinking about Marlon Lopez, he's had quite the interesting history in these matches. All 3 of his goals he scored last season for Esteli came against Managua. And he scored in both legs of the Clausura Championship tie, after scoring just once in his previous 26 matches. And of course, that previous one was against Managua. Part of a 4-2 aggregate win for the Train of the North. Peralta pokes his way into the box. Gallego with the goal. Catches Rodrigo Romo wrong-footed as it falls to the striker. And Gallego has his 3rd goal of the season. And his 5th career goal against Real Esteli as Managua pulls one back late in this 9-on-9 scenario. But it's still 4-2 to the visitors.
Nice goal there for Pablo Gallego, the Spaniard. Got twisted up there in goal a little bit. Did Rodrigo Romo. Might have got his feet crossed up and just found himself off balance and unable to recover and have any kind of chance on that one. Just off balance from the get-go. Another look at it here. Working in the middle is the Blue Lions. And just twisted up, off balance there was Romo. No chance on that one.
Technically, the assist will actually go to Ricardo Mendieta, the 25-year-old, in his first season with the club. First ball in from Peralta. Nice little subtle touch there by Mendieta to play Gallego in. And Gallego scored 3 times against Esteli last year. Part of a huge campaign for the former member of El Tren del Norte. Off his line comes Acevedo aggressively. Brandon Ayertis charging on.
I'm a little surprised he came out that far.
Yeah, in the first of 5 minutes of stoppage time, and he's been pretty aggressive tonight, Acevedo. Didn't get there in time on the Barrera counter where he was beaten for the 3rd goal of the night. But you think about it, not much Acevedo could have done on the other 3. The penalty, the 2 headers, one glancing off the bar and in.
Great assist on those goals as well tonight for Esteli.
Josue Quijano assisting on the first. Ayertis with the corner on the second. Putting it right on the head of Yon Mosquera, who scores his 2nd goal in an Esteli uniform.
Safe to say this is a great team win here tonight if Esteli is able to hold on for another just over 3 minutes.
It is a free kick, though, in a pretty good position for Managua. And the pitch is open as we continue to play 9-on-9. Each team having 2 men sent off, and Esteli having a 3rd sent off, one of the bench players, Denver Fox. So if Managua can somehow put this in, we might have ourselves a mad scramble in the final few minutes. Looking back post, but there's a crucial header. Oscar Acevedo pumped up as he got in the way of that good-looking ball, and it's a corner to be taken quickly by Managua.
Great position on that one from Acevedo.
Push in the back. It looked like Serapio called for the push off. We've mentioned all this, and it's almost easy to forget that Serapio had a goal that was taken off the board, a late offside flag going up on the 24-year-old midfielder. Think about how much different this match, these final couple minutes would be without that flag going up. But alas, and it did seem like the right call in the moment.
It was the right call. That definitely would have been a tie for sure.
It did not go in, and instead of making it 2-1, moments later, Barrera would get his hat trick to make it 3-0. Final 90 seconds in stoppage time. A few of the 600 allowed fans in attendance tonight still remain. Both teams awaiting the schedule release for the second half of the Apertura season. As Paz makes his run down the right flank.
As are we, waiting for that schedule release, Ben.
I'd be interested to see how that lines up for the second half. Usually, though, at least the team order follows the same setting as the initial 9-game slate. It'll just be the reverse sites for all those fixtures. And Esteli, they open their season against Ocotal, so you would think it would be a visit to Ocotal to start the second half of the Apertura. Well, a man goes down in the box, and a penalty in the final minute of stoppage time. Nayum Peralta goes down. He's going to beg Bayardo Juarez to let him take this as quickly as possible as we're into the final minute of stoppage time. Might be too little too late, but here's how it happened.
Little jersey tug there, it looked like.
Cristian Gutierrez brought him down. That's a penalty. Easy call to make for Juarez, and this was the same spot where Juan Barrera scored in the first half for Esteli.
This could be the last bit of action here in this one, Ben, as we're over the 5-minute stoppage time mark.
We'll see if they add any more on after this. Peralta scored 8 goals last year, looking for his first of the 2020 campaign. And he goes with a panenka. Beautiful from Peralta. Little panache for the former Esteli man as he shows off some confidence there and is fired up as he's able to score for the first time against his former club. Scored 9 times and won 3 titles for the Train of the North in 4.5 seasons. And that is worthy of another look.
Oh, most definitely. Got Rodrigo Romo off his skates there momentarily and down on the ground, and he was unable to recover from that one. A great strike there from Peralta.
But alas, it will be too little too late. The final kick of the game is that cheekily taken penalty for Nayum Peralta. It wraps up the scoring in what has been a wild and hard to really recap in 15-second tight match. But Esteli wins 4-3. You see the final numbers. They end up with 5 red cards, so there were 2 additional members of the bench who were sent off. So we officially will see 7 goals, 7 red cards. And when all is said and done, Esteli will come away with a victory. They stay top of the table. Managua falls to 6th as we reach the halfway of the 2020 fall season. James, it's hard to get one single final thought, but I'll challenge you to do that on a night that had so much to talk about.
So many final thoughts, Ben, but I'll condense them here really quick. It was a great effort tonight from Esteli, and they were able to weather the storm and come out of here with a victory, and they're going to have a great 2-hour and 24-minute ride home, given the current traffic, back north to Esteli, and it's going to be a great night for them on the way back home. They'll celebrate this one, and they'll keep that streak intact.
They will. 18 now matches unbeaten in Liga Primera play dating back to April in the Clausura. Will probably be a lot of fallout, a lot of suspensions from this match. Of course, 7 red cards given out. But in the end, it's a win for Esteli. Hat trick for that man, Juan Barrera, as we say so long. So for James Poovey, I'm Ben Wilson from our final tonight. In the nation's capital of Nicaragua, it is Real Esteli 4, Managua 3.
Que se saque el resultado y se termina de manera invicta esta primera vuelta.
Sí, es complicado quedarse con 2 jugadores menos, ya nos había pasado, igual, bueno, ya lo hemos entrenado también esa parte de jugar con un jugador menos, no jugar con 2, pero nos ha pasado en 2 partidos como nos pasó con el Diriangén.